I've been a member of TRMN since August of 2011. Started as a basic spacer. One of my friends was John Knight, who's currently not currently, but was had just retired as the second fleet CO. We basically started together. He started a little before me and then convinced me to join. We've been basically moving and doing TRMN things since then. Sure. In some ways, we're not exactly a bureau. I mean, my day-to-day job requires a staff, but my office essentially helps to manage the operations of the organization. It manages the people who do the operations of the organization. Specifically, I manage my own branch, which is the Royal Manticore Navy. So we all have the different branches. So I'm responsible as the senior officer of the actual Royal Manticore Navy part of the organization. But on top of that, my office also manages all the fleet COs, and it also manages, except the except the 4th Fleet CO, who is managed by the GSM, and the 7th Fleet CO. All the rest of the fleet COs answer to me directly, and the bureaus all answer directly up in my line of management. So in that area is where our office manages the day-to-day operations of the organization, because the bureaus are essentially themselves responsible to managing the various parts of the organization that make it function. So essentially, I'm the manager's manager. So when we joined up, one of the things that we talked about, obviously, like everybody, was starting a chapter. There was no chapters functioning in 2nd Fleet, and we really wanted to start that. So we created the HMS Merlin. It was our first launch chapter up here in the Minnesota Twin Cities area. We had a group that ventured off to Fargo to meet for the first time ever David Weber at ValleyCon, which was so much fun, even though it was this tiny little convention, and it really cemented our team to just be a good crew, a fun time, and it really is great to meet David and Sharon. And then not long after that, in September or October, my history is in organization development and in training. So I was very interested in joining the Bureau of Training, because they were really 1 to 3 person show and needed help. And so I joined up to help when Jim Friedline was the 6th Space Lord at the time, and have spent most of my time in the organization as I moved up in the Bureau of Training. So I started out grading exams in the enlisted and warrant officer positions, and then moved into officer exams, and finally moved into levels of leadership. So I was the chief of staff to the SIA commandant, and then moved into the commandant position, and after that commandant position moved into the deputy space lord position after it was created. It just sort of, I guess, naturally happened, because everything I was doing was just contributing to the organization's growth and the Bureau's growth, and as we grew, we just needed more people, and it developed into the big organization that it is today. So then after Jim left, retired, then I moved into the 6th Space Lord's position, was there for a while, and then once John Roberts left the 1st Space Lord's office, I was brought on a little bit earlier as a deputy to get to know the office and to understand what it did, and then moved into that position a year ago. Favorite TRMN memories? I've got a number of them, but I'd say my favorite ones were going to conventions where I got to meet other people doing the work of the organization. So when we first started Manticon and did that up here, having a whole bunch of the Space Lords show up and have the other branch members show up and meeting, Sean Niemeyer, and I'd already met Martin, and we had gone off to, I guess the first larger scale convention we'd gone off to that had more of the leadership people was when we went to Shore Leave the first year. I believe that was 2012. It wasn't too far off from when I joined, and met a bunch of the leadership there, and then really got to, and that's where I actually got to meet face-to-face with Jim Friedline, and it was really a big kickstart to just continuing to make the organization something special. But yeah, meeting members at conventions, meeting other people working in the organization, even down to, ship bosuns really making a difference is, and crew members doing special things in their area. It's really what I like to do a lot, is meeting people. It probably sounds really silly, but I really did get sucked in because of Honor Harrington. Being female and not at the time having read a bunch of strong female characters that were captains, and then watching her grow through the organization. I had kind of already been completely sucked in by the Age of Sail stories with Horatio Hornblower, so it was a perfect fit because I loved those stories, and the Aubrey Matron stories and things like that. So this just pulled me in, and following her as a CO and the kind of mentality that she brings to the books and her character brings, I think, has shaped a significant portion of the organization and how we think and what we honor and what we do. So even though she's the title character, still my favorite character.